In the last video, we cleaned the carburetor, fixed the primer, and ultimately got this old Johnson running. So in this video, we'll pick up where we left off. Next on the agenda is the power tilt. It didn't come with switches, so I ordered one on eBay. This one was extra cheap because the wires had some nicks in them. I'm gonna put some heat shrink over top of that, but for now, let's test this thing out. Oh, I have the battery disconnected. Hang on. All right, I got the battery hooked back up. Let's see. So I can hear this. I can hear the solenoids clicking when I press the buttons, but nothing's happening. It sounds like it's coming from in here. I'm guessing these are the two relays for the trim. Yeah. Alright, so it looks like we got some wiring issues in here. Not sure how well you can see it, but this wire right here, the insulation was, I don't know if it was melted off or what, but this wire is hot. So I don't see how that's not shorting out right now. I'm going to disconnect the battery and pick at some of these wires to see if there's anything else that's messed up like that. I'm going to have to replace this wire. The only thing I found that's kind of messed up is the rectifier. I'll order a new rectifier. That shouldn't stop our trim tilt from working, so I keep on looking into it. Alright, so we know power and signal are getting to the relays. What I'm doing is I'm going a little bit downstream from where the relays are. This is the wires that go straight to the trim pump, the hydraulic pump. This blue one is to raise it, the green one is to lower it. So I've got my test light hooked up to this connector here. I'm going to hit that trim button. We'll see if this test light lights up. If so, that means we're getting a signal. So here we go. And we are. So the relay is working properly. Let me check the other one too. Alright, since we determined that power is getting from the relay to the motor, that the problem must lie in the motor itself. So unfortunately, the release valve is stuck on this thing, so I think I'm gonna lift the motor off the stand so that I can get better access to the motor. Excuse me, I'm gonna lift the outboard off the stand so that I can get access to the front side of the trim tilt system. All right, so since everything's so messed up, I can't get to the relief valve. I took this nut off of here. This one was already missing. So I'm just gonna try to bang the bracket off. And I'll do the same thing over here so that we can get to this trim pump. Stop down here. All right, this appears to be a 5/16 with the 18 pitch thread. It's a little gunky. I shine the light in there and you can see some rust, which makes sense because everything else is rusty and crusty from being in the salt water. So I'm going to run my tap through this and then I will see if I can pull it off. All right, I'm gonna take a break from trying to get this pin out because it's not wanting to come out. I even tried hammering it a little bit to try to break the tension of whatever crud was in there. I went in, can't even get it back to where it was to start from now. So I think what I'm gonna do is I have access to all the screws for the motor now since we have it off the stand. I'm gonna hopefully be able to get these screws out. I'm gonna pull this motor off. My guess is the motor is actually the culprit, or at least that's probably what's wrong. All right, that's why it's not even trying to raise or lower. So I'll pull that off, take a look at it, and potentially we could fix the problem without having to pull the whole unit off. So unfortunately, I don't see anything that's completely messed up here. Spring on these brushes still have, springiness to them. There's plenty of brush left. Armature and commutator, like the armature doesn't look bad. This is where the brushes ride. Looks okay. I wonder if some of these windings have shorted out. Or maybe something happened with these wires here. I'll do some tests on these wires to make sure our current is getting from here into here. Alright, so as far as the blue or raised circuit, we clean this contact. We got continuity now between here and the tip of the wire. Now, for the green circuit, let's see. We've got a breaking continuity. or excuse me, sorry, this is the green. It's a blue circuit. We've got a break in continuity from, let's see, if I probe it here, so our brush from there to our brush, we've got no continuity whatsoever. Step down under where all this bend is, this awkward bend. Probe it there. You can see we've got continuity there. So there's a break in this wire somewhere around here. Nothing there. So yeah, there's a break in this wire about right here. So I'm going to, I can actually feel it now. It probably got pinched up. When the motor was tilting, it got pinched and snapped in half. I'm going to go ahead and just cut out this whole section and reconnect these wires. Alright, so I redid these wires here. This is the green side. Green side, this one was working after we cleaned some of the contacts up before. But the other one still wasn't working. This one that had a broken wire. And boom. Cool. Alright, so now that we got that wire fixed, let's see, it spins. Alright, so battery's hooked up. I have the motor on the bench, but it is wired up. So the switch, we got stuff everywhere. The switch is right here. Now that we've got all the wiring fixed, the switch should spin the motor. So that's what we're gonna check real quick. Sweet. And they're spinning in opposite directions. That's perfect. Heck yeah. So since I was stupid enough to mess up this pin right here while I was trying to bang it out, I ended up mushrooming the end of it so that the nut wouldn't fit back on it. So since I was dumb enough to do that, now I have to use my die, which I had to custom order this die. I didn't have a die this size. It's a 1/2 inch with 20 threads on it. So now I'm setting new threads on this bad boy. I already did the other side and I'm still doing this one. Almost good as new, maybe better, who knows. All right, trim and tilt pump and cylinder are back on the motor, and the motor is back on the stand now. I was able to get those nuts back on that bottom tilt pin, and I think we're We're good to go. Let's test it out. Moment of truth. It needs fluid. I haven't put the fluid in there. I dumped some out of it. I do need to go up high enough so that I can put some more in there. Alright, so yeah, it's working at least. I'm gonna go ahead and fill it real quick and we'll test it. There you go. So I put some more fluid in it. I had dumped quite a bit out while I was fixing the motor, so had to refill that, also get all the air out of the system. Now that we got that fixed, I'm gonna go ahead and check the oil in the lower unit. All right, so no, it's dark. I'm not sure what kind of oil they use. It's pretty dark, but there is no water in it, so that's a good sign. So we finally got this thing working good, but I still need to put it back together, put the covers on there. All right, the last thing we got to do on this motor before it is completely functional is replace the rectifier. I cleaned this thing pretty good once already, but you can see just working on it with my greasy fingers on everything, it's gotten pretty dirty again. So I'm gonna wash it down again real quick.
beef like I ain't in a teed up. I turn them to vegan. I'm really a creature. She sent me the beacon. I beat it and flee it. They talk like these niggas won't beat me. They can't. I'm somewhat tucked off. I'm laid in the shade and I'm counting mine. Still ain't made it. I'm jaded. My latest, my greatest. I ain't ever caving. They see me. I'm him. I'm a gym in the soil. It's by the time. I've been after mine. I'm one with the culture. They more like a gimmick. I'm pushing the needle. I'm leaving the key in. It's running over.